All right, so I have seen the comments, and I know that you guys are just foaming at the mouth for my sniper guide part 2. So, this isn't it, but I am going to start this series. I think I'm just going to call it Sniper School or something like that, where I'm going to go over different aspects of sniping and give my tips and tricks on that particular subject. This lets me pick a subject and sort of go more in depth versus a big guide where I don't really have a lot of time to talk about something and I sort of just have to be very general and give like not as in-depth tips. Because if I do, that video will be like a bajillion hours long. So today I'm going to talk about the sniper versus sniper interaction. I will mostly be applying it to trials or 3v3 since 6v6 is just kind of nonsense, to be honest, especially these days. So most of my clips and examples will probably be from scrims or attorney or trials, something like that, usually 3v3. So with all that out of the way, let's get started. The first thing I want to talk about is target prioritization. As a sniper, let's say you peek a lane and you see multiple enemies. So, who do you shoot first? What is your job? Well, as a sniper, your first priority needs to be taking out the opposing sniper if they have one. Snipers are the strongest weapons in the game when mastered, and that is why they need to be your first target. Also, they are the greatest threat to you personally as well. Since they will probably be looking for you, the red glares stand out. They also know that you are the greatest threat to them, so you need to make sure that you prioritize the other sniper first. Your second priority after other snipers will be anyone who is a threat to you personally. This could be someone who's just shooting at you or someone who is closing space, pushing you, trying to get closer to you, etc. That is because if you are dead, you can't do anything, obviously, so you need to be sure that they are your next priority. You need to stay alive. After you check for anyone who is a threat to you, your next priority should be anyone who is a threat to your teammates. I feel that I'm personally very good at this, as my team always tells me that I'm like a guardian angel. So you need to be able to watch out for your team, especially because you'll probably be further in the back if you're positioned properly. The enemies will be like maybe pushing your team or distracted shooting at your team, so you are in an excellent position to sort of put down cover for them. After these three target priorities, you should probably just prioritize based off range, meaning that maybe if you peek and you can't really tell what's going on, or there's no sniper and nobody's really shooting at you, maybe there's not really a full-on fight going on, I would just prioritize based off range. So basically anyone who's closer to you is a bigger threat, so you need to take them out first. As a recap, you need to always take out the enemy sniper first. If you do this, this lets you play much more aggressively and you'll have free range over the map since your biggest counter is gone. Next, you need to take out anyone who is a threat to you personally. Then you need to take out anyone who is a direct threat to one of your teammates. Now that that's established, I'm going to talk about getting to the lane first. This is especially true in something like trials. So you're probably thinking, well, yeah, obviously you want to get to the sniper lane first, like duh, everyone knows that. But actually, I am here to tell you that you don't want to be there first. You actually want to be there second, believe it or not. Now, I know this is probably crazy, as I can't even tell you how many times and how many different people I've heard say it's important to get there first, but actually you will be at a disadvantage by getting there first. Before I explain this, let me tell you when it is a good idea to get there first. So it is a good idea to get there first if you are not a sniper. Shotgun players or close range players, whatever, fusions, they need to get there first, especially if they're just passing through the lane. They need to be able to get there fast and move through the lane as fast as possible. Also, if you are going to use any sort of ability like putting down a titan wall or throwing a grenade or something, then you also want to get there first because that can actually cut off the other sniper. Now, if you are just a sniper peeking another sniper, you are actually at a disadvantage if you get there first. But whether or not the other sniper is good enough to take advantage of this is another story. So here is why you are at a disadvantage by getting to the lane first. And that is because of good old Peeker's advantage. Yes, my favorite thing to talk about. So here's what a normal trials round looks like for me. The round starts, the other sniper absolutely zooms to the lane because they know, they've been taught, they've heard it everywhere. You need to be the first one to get to the lane. So they zoom, top tree dawn, blink, whatever. They are doing everything they can to get there first. But me, I spawn in, I'm not paying attention. I'm over here like complaining about invis hunters or something, and then I'm like, oh crap, the round started. So I run to the lane and I slide out with my sniper, and then I snipe the other guy who's standing there using Peeker's advantage, and then they call me a cheater or something. And that is because what they did is they got to the lane first, and then they stood by the wall or whatever, by cover, stood there holding it, waiting for me to get there. But I slid out, and since Peeker's advantage exists, and just because of the nature of like how frames and sort of like reaction times work, I'm actually at a huge advantage here, especially because I already know where he's going to be because people do the same thing in trials especially. So I already know where he's going to be. I already checked my radar, or my team told me, whatever. I slide out, and because of Peeker's advantage, I see him before he sees me, and I get a free snipe every time. And I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. Against most snipers, this is how trials goes for me. People think that you need to get to the lane, and then they get to the lane and they stand there next to cover. They're usually by cover, which is good. That's where they should be. But if the other sniper slides out and hits the shot, there's nothing they can do. They are at a huge disadvantage in that scenario. Now, do most snipers play like I do? No, not really. Most snipers will just stand by the wall, like I said, they're peeking, and they'll slowly peek at each other. Now, if you are both doing that, like if you're trying to do that and they're trying to do that, just stand next to the wall and like slow peek each other, which a lot of sniping is like that, a lot of people do that, then you do want to be there first. If you're playing like that, then it is important to get there first, because you'll get there and stand there by the wall or whatever, and then they'll slowly peek out by their wall, and it's just, you'll be at an advantage in that way. So if your lobby is playing out like this, or if that's your play style, then yes, you do want to get there first. But I will tell you that if you're playing against a very good sniper, one who's more aggressive, sort of like the scrim tourney style sniper, you will be at a huge disadvantage if you get there first and stand there like that. You will rarely see me standing next to cover like that if I think the other sniper is good. What I usually do is I will slide out and look, and if they're not there, I will slide back, and then I will slide out again. I will repeatedly slide in and out because I want to make sure I'm using my Peeker's advantage. Just to recap, technically you are at a disadvantage by getting to the lane first if you just stand there, and even if it's in cover, like if you stand there just holding your scope up or whatever, technically you are at a disadvantage, but whether or not the other player is good enough to take advantage of that is another story, but I just want to point out that interaction. Next, I'm quickly going to talk about map pressure and map control. The biggest way to counter a good sniper is to take away their space and map presence. You can do this as a team, you actually kind of need to do this as a team, but if you can take away the other sniper's space, it will put a lot of pressure on them and it'll make them easier to counter. Certain parts of the map are very strong, especially in something like Trials, where it can come down to a cap point. So one good counter to snipers in general is to take away space and take away map pressure. Next, kind of going with Peeker's advantage, you'll hear me talk about that a lot because it's super crucial to understand as a sniper. When possible, you should peek snipers to your left, meaning the cover is on your right. This is faster the way that, like frame-wise, the way that frames work. Basically, if you peek to your left and they're peeking to the right, you will see their head before they see yours. I've talked about this before, so I'm going to keep it short, but basically you need to try to peek to your left when you can. Next, and this may sound kind of bad at first, but you need to bait your teammates. I'm not saying to let them die, but for example, if you're approaching a lane, let one of your teammates go first, okay? Or at least go at the same time as them. You don't want to just be the first one, in my opinion. You can, but I think you'll be much more effective if you let someone else go first. Let your teammate like jump through or dodge through if they're on a hunter, maybe shoulder charge through, Icarus dash. Let them move through the lane first. You don't want them to get sniped, that's not what I'm saying. Like, don't actually bait them, but let them go first and sort of draw any attention. Let's say the other sniper is there already, or he slid and is looking or something. He's there. Let your teammate dodge through first. Maybe they'll get bodied, or the other guy will just look at them and not shoot. And then you need to time it so that you are there to take the shot while they're sort of distracted. Basically, the ideal situation would be you let one of your teammates go, like maybe they're on a hunter and they jump through real fast. The other guy goes, he's holding the lane waiting for you. He sees someone jump through, he looks, but realizes, he's like, oh, I can't hit that. And then you snipe him before he can actually refocus back on the angle that he's holding. Now, there is a very fine line to this. You don't want any of your teammates to die. You're not actually baiting them. Sniping does have a lot to do with like partially baiting your teammates and sort of figuring out how you can use them as a distraction or sort of position yourself based off of them. You don't want them to die. That's not what I'm saying. You don't be a bad teammate. All right, don't just wait for your whole team to die and then be like, oh, well, I got a guy. It's your guys' fault. Why are you dying? No, don't be that guy. But you definitely can take advantage of the other sniper maybe looking at your teammates or being distracted. So definitely try to figure that timing out. Like I said, there is a fine line. You don't want your teammates to die. You want to be able to take out the other sniper while he's distracted. My next tip is to be confident. I already mentioned peeker's advantage multiple times, and this kind of goes with it. You have to think, oh, I'm better than this dude all day, and you have to peek. If you play nervous or scared, you will give up map control, and naturally, you will lose out to peeker's advantage because scared snipers will be holding angles while aggressive ones will be peeking and taking advantage of that. Scared snipers will get eaten up alive by aggressive ones, so you need to be confident no matter who you are playing. However, my final tip is to know when you are getting outplayed, okay? So if you're constantly peeking the lane at the beginning of every round and you're just getting sniped over and over and over, you are really hurting your team. Honestly, at that point, you are almost the sole reason that you're losing. If you're just repeatedly getting picked at the beginning of every round, you can't let that happen. So you need to understand that when maybe you're just off that day, or that other guy is just a god, or maybe they're cheating, like who knows. Like if you're getting out sniped, you need to understand this and you need to stop peeking them. You don't have to stop sniping, but maybe if you get there first, throw a grenade and close the gap, or wait until the round has progressed a bit before you start to peek them. Whatever you want to do, that's okay, but just understand that if you get sniped right away, like 3 times in a row or something, just understand that you are severely hurting your team, because we've already talked about how strong a sniper can be once the other sniper is taken out. That is the first episode of my sniper school series. So I plan on doing plenty of these as long as they are helpful and there is at least some interest. So if you like these more in-depth tips, let me know. Let me know what you'd like me to talk about next. I don't normally do this either, but if you found something useful, maybe hit that sweet subscribe button. It would be greatly appreciated. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.